Okay, I want to welcome everybody to the Women on Course Top 10 Etiquette Tips. We are going to go through each of these items, and then at the end, we're going to have a discussion on how to conduct yourself on the golf course, situations that may come up that are a little sticky, and we'd love to get your input on how you would handle certain things. So I'm going to share a screen with you all. Let's see. Okay, so we're starting with etiquette. And I like to tell people, I get a lot of phone calls, people asking me, hey, I want to sign up for this 9-hole event. Am I a good enough golfer? Can I sign up? And my answer to them is, I'm not concerned with how well you hit the ball. What I am concerned about is that you do know the golf etiquette and you do know how to keep a pace of play. So a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. So in the world of golf, there are a lot of manners that you need to follow. Most of this is not intuitive. So you could be breaking these rules without even knowing it. You know, if you go out for a tea, as these ladies are here, not to eat with your mouth open, not to burp out loud. That fashionably late does mean you can show up 5, 10, 15 minutes late and you're perfectly acceptable. But in golf, there are a lot of things that happen that no one is going to tell you. They're going to observe that you're breaking these etiquette breaches, and then they're just going to think less of you, especially if you're playing with strangers. So I want to prepare you with what I feel are the top 10 etiquette breaches. There's probably a lot more, but here are my top 10. All right, the first one is kind of interesting. It's where do you stand on a golf course? So when you're out on this golf course, a lot of people can stand in all different places. And if you're standing in the wrong place, it's not polite. First of all, there's a safety issue. So you want to stand in a place where you're not going to be hit by a golf ball or a golf club. The proper place to stand on a golf course when it is not your turn, you can go with the golfer and stand in 5, 6 feet away from them. And you want to make sure that you're looking either at the front of the golfer or the back of the golfer. So you're facing their front or back. There's an invisible line, okay, of when a golfer is positioned to the ball and they're going to hit it out. You want to make sure you're behind that invisible line, okay? If you are just 3 to 4 inches ahead of them, if that ball hits the club face in the wrong way, the ball will go sideways, and people have been hurt by golf balls. I've never seen a golf ball go backwards, but I have seen it go sideways about an inch or two. Also, you don't want to get hit by the golf club. So if you're standing behind the person, directly behind them, you want to be a good 10 feet behind them. Because again, that club is going to go all the way back, and that club is long. And if for some reason it's a hot day or the person's grip loosens and they let go of the club, it's going to go flying behind them. So this is especially important on a driving range as well. People forget on a driving range, it's a little more casual, but you always want, if you're walking behind people hitting, stay 10 feet back. The other reason you want to stand away from the golfer from a safety reason is the golfer is looking down at their ball. They do not want to see movement in their peripheral vision. So if you're standing right behind them, they're going to see you. They're going to see your movements. They're going to see you moving around, and it's going to be very distracting. But if the person is right in front of me or behind me, I can't see them if I'm looking down. All right. Also, you want to watch your shadow. So on a sunny day, you may be standing in the proper place, but your shadow is now casting out over where they're hitting. And if you're moving around, that shadow is moving. So just make sure to watch your shadow as well as watching yourself. Okay, when to talk and when not to talk. This is a social sport. People are chatting, they're talking, you're supposed to be interacting. But when you see a golfer start her turn, that is when all conversation must stop. Now, when does a turn begin? It begins when the golfer enters what is called their pre-shot routine. So it's not when they're hitting the ball. It's not the swing. It's when you see them concentrating and doing their little things before they hit the ball. They may be standing behind and aiming. They may be standing over the ball. They are thinking. Okay, they may not be doing anything, but they're thinking. If you say, hey, what do you want for lunch? You're breaking their train of thought. So usually when people step up to the ball, they're going to spend 20 seconds before they hit. They're going to be in their pre-shot routine. That's when you stop talking. After they hit, you're welcome to talk and say, great shot, who's next, but always be quiet. This also applies to your equipment. So if you're back by the cart and you're looking for your club for the next shot and you're rattling clubs or you're talking loudly to the bar cart or you're talking loudly to friends, you want to make sure that you're quiet around the golfers. And think about this too, when you're on your tee box hitting your tee shot, there could be people putting right next to you as well. So you want to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings. And golf, they say for kids, use your inside voice and your outside voice. You want to use your golf inside voice. Okay, very important. People get very annoyed if you are talking during their swing. All right, this I've seen, unfortunately, way too much out on the golf course. This is not an etiquette you're going to read about anywhere, but my opinion, you're out here to spend quality time with your people in your golf group. And if people are on their phones, and if someone could mute who's ever there, if you're on your phone and being distracted or disinterested, it's sort of like, why are you even here? So if you're going to make the time and clear your calendar to be there, be a team player. Okay. If you're playing with men, let's say, and they're hitting off a different tee box than you, or you've just given up on this hole, your ball is lost in the water, go with your group, go out there, be part of the team, look for their balls, cheer them on. But if you just kind of disassociate yourself, it's to me, it's bad form, because that's why you're out there. Okay, now why are we not going to the next one here? All right, looks like my PowerPoint is stuck. Here we go, let's try this. Okay. All right, this is a big one. In golf, you are required or expected to keep a proper pace of play. And a lot of people don't know what that means. So I'm going to define that for you right now. Pace of play means that your group is one shot behind the group ahead of you. So for example, if you're on the tee box and you're hitting into the fairway, all right, you should be able to see the group that is on the green. So if you're in a par 4 and you don't see anybody on the hole, you are behind the pace of play. You are behind and you need to catch up very quickly. All right. So I've invented this saying called the 30-second rule to try to help you move along faster. Keep these activities to 30 seconds. First, your turn, when you are walking up to the ball and taking your turn, should take absolutely no more than 30 seconds. I've seen people, Jody's been with me, we're out on trips, and we see people set up over the ball, looking at their ball, and they're not swinging. I got the stopwatch, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 50. What is that person doing? What are you thinking about? Hit the ball, okay? 30 seconds. I like to say your turn should be more like 15 or 20 seconds, all right? So limit your turn. Now, how about your ball getting lost? That's another big time suck. The rule in golf is that you have 3 minutes to look for a lost ball. So think about it. If you take 3 minutes and you're supposed to be on that hole as a group for 15 is sort of my rule of thumb. You'll finish the round in time if you're 15 minutes old. If you take 3 minutes to look for your lost ball, you've just condensed everybody's time. So limit your time looking for a lost ball to 30 seconds. If you don't find it, move on. Another one is getting to your ball. So I see a lot of people, they wait for, I'm looking at Michelle. Michelle is hitting the ball, okay? They wait politely for Michelle to finish. And that's when they decide to start their turn. Oh, I'm next. Now I'm going to figure out what club I'm using. Now I'm going to walk all across the green to get to my ball. So they're taking 2 or 3 minutes just to get to their turn. Every 30 seconds, someone should be hitting the ball. Someone should be taking their turn. So start your turn before your turn. If you know you're next, have your club selected, get as close to your ball as safely possible, if that's a sentence, but get as close to your ball as you can, where it's safe. So when Michelle finishes hitting her shot, you've got the right club in your hand, you walk quickly to your ball, and you take your turn. All right, the last thing I see a lot of people spend a lot of time is after the ball goes in the hole. It goes in the hole, they're taking pictures, they're chit-chatting, they're celebrating. Clear the green. Get off the course. Write your score down while you're in the cart, because you have people behind you and they can't hit onto the green until you finish and clear. So make sure you're moving quickly. So 30-second rule. So ladies, if you're out there and you see other golfers taking too long, you could say, hey, have you seen the women on course 30-second rule? You might want to abide by that. And it's also published on our website. All right, ready golf. This is another way to help speed up play. So in golf, if you're following the rules, the person who goes next is the person furthest from the hole, okay? So to give you an example, you have 3 balls on the putting surface, and Donna, I'm way back there. I'm about 100 yards. So technically, I'm the person that goes next. But I was in the bathroom and I don't have a club in my hand. I'm not even near the ball. So instead of those 3 people sitting there waiting for me to take my turn, you can do what's called ready golf. I'm ready. I'm sitting here by my ball. I know I'm not closest to the hole, but I'm going to go ahead and putt to keep things moving. The other situation is you have 2 people on opposite sides of the fairway. Someone is way up close to the hole. Someone's way back. Again, you're not in danger because that person who's way back hopefully will not hit you. But if it's safe and you're close to your ball, go ahead and you just announce, hey, I'm playing ready golf, because we are behind, we're falling behind. And especially with the weather right now where it's really, really hot out there, people don't want to be hanging on a golf course forever. So sometimes you can say, ladies, we're just going to play ready golf, get next to your ball, make sure you're safe, and then hit the ball. And this goes back to who goes first. When you're on the tee, when you're starting the game, everyone decides which tee box they're going to play from. So some people may play with the forward tees that are red, the blue, the green, the gold. There is no ladies tees. And if you hear someone go play from the ladies tees, they're outdated. It's all based on skill. The further back the tee box, the longer the course is going to be. All right. So if someone's playing way back, they go first, and then everyone hits their ball in turn. And then the person who's furthest will keep hitting their shot if you're playing according to the rules. Now, when you get to the next hole, and let's say you're all playing from the same tee box, the person who goes first technically is the person who scored the best score on the last hole. They have what's called honors. They go next. But at Women on Course, a lot of people do not keep score. So we just say, if you're furthest back, that's who goes first. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention about who goes when is you don't change tee boxes. So if you start on the red tee box, that is the box you use on every single hole. I've seen people go, you know what, I'm going to hit it from the blue box. I'm going to hit it from the white box. I'm going to hit it from the green box. You keep the same hole every single hole. If you start moving boxes, I guess you could, but you cannot keep score and enter that in the system if you are keeping a handicap. Your score is not going to be legitimate. So I talk a lot about keeping score according to the rules of golf. And if you are doing that and putting your score in a computer or you're in a tournament, you have to stick to the same tee box. But if you're just out there recreational, playing your own way, you can pretty much do whatever you want as long as you follow etiquette and keep the pace of play. All right, this is another one of my absolute favorites. It's called the one and done. Technically, when you take a swing at the ball and you're keeping score, that counts as a stroke. And according to the rules of golf, the most you can write down on your scorecard is 5 over par. So if you're in a par 3 and you swing at that ball 7 or 8 times, let's say 8 times, and you keep missing, you are done. So the one and done is people that swing at the ball and they think, oh, I missed, I'm just going to try again and again and again and again. It's very annoying. It's very frustrating for both the golfer and the people watching. If you're keeping score, according to rules of golf, go ahead, keep taking your swings, keep counting them, and make sure you stop when you hit 5 over par or you hit the maximum amount allowed by the handicap system if you have a handicap. which I'll get to in a minute. Now, let's say you're not keeping score, okay, and you miss, okay? Pick up your ball, put it in your pocket, and you're going to drop it where you wanted that ball to go. All right, so I'll repeat that. Pick up your ball if you miss. Do not keep taking a swing. If your players that you're playing with say, hey, you missed, why don't you take another shot? Do not do it. Don't fall into that do loop trap because they're doing it to be nice. Okay, but what's going to happen is now the pressure's on. All right, they gave me another chance, and what if I miss again? So you're just getting more and more frustrated. They're getting more and more frustrated. So if they offer, so if you're a golfer, ladies, do not encourage people to take another shot. Just say, good try, pick it up, let's go. All right, because we don't want to get in this do loop. I've seen this happen too many times, and it's just a no-win situation. Okay, usually following a whiff, there is an apology by the golfer. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I missed the ball. I'm sorry I'm not good today. I'm sorry, sorry, sorry. In golf, there's no apologies. No need to draw undue attention to yourself. Have you ever played with someone and all they're doing is just making excuses for why their game isn't good? Oh, I haven't played in a year, or I'm just coming off an injury, or I didn't get any sleep last night. All of this negative talk, what it's doing is it's kind of taking up the air, and you're kind of encroaching on other people's positive spirit, and they're trying to enjoy the day. So if you have negativity, complaints, you want to beat yourself up, be my guest, but do it in your head. Don't do it out loud. Nobody wants to play with someone who's constantly talking about themselves and how bad they are. Here's the deal. The more you draw attention to yourself negatively, the more you're going to continue hitting it badly. So try not to, just try to reassess your mind. I tried my best. I missed. Michelle, it's your turn. Just walk off the course, walk off that hole as if you just had a hole in one. You don't need to apologize. Everybody hits bad shots. And it's interesting. I'll go out there, just watch, go with your group and just keep score how many times someone says, I'm sorry. Now, if you legitimately do something bad, like you hit someone in the head with a golf club, or you do something, go be my guest. You can apologize. But if you're just trying to play the game and you're not that good, you don't need to apologize. 90% of most golfers, of all golfers actually, cannot break a score of 100. So 90% of most golfers are really not that good. So you're in good company. Another thing I like to say, if this is your first time on one of my calls, is if you're not that sure of yourself and you're walking up to the first tee and you're playing with some strangers, let's say they're men, and they see you come up, people stereotypically expect a woman not to be good. Okay, so if you hit a bad shot, no big deal. That's what they expect. If you hit a great shot, you're going to impress them. So all you can do is impress people, right? Men, on the other hand, are expected to be athletes, are expected to be good. So if they hit a bad shot, they're going to look bad. So for women, you can just impress people, and men are just going to disappoint people. So you really have nothing to lose to get out there and try your best and not apologize. Okay, as there are rules, etiquette rules that apply to golfers, there are also etiquette rules on your golf cart. How to drive the cart, where to drive the cart, where it's allowed, where it's not allowed. The first time I went out on a golf course, I thought I was being really good. I drove out there on the green where my ball was, and I drove right up and parked on the green right next to my ball. And I got very disapproving looks from my group. People were shouting at me, what are you doing? Get that cart off the green. I said, what? I'm just parking right next to my ball. So knowing where to drive that cart is imperative. So you do not drive on the green. You don't even drive within 30 yards of a green. Now, the golf course that I play at has a little sign that says carts, and it's pointing to the right. It's pointing for me to leave the golf course. Some courses do not have that sign. And so again, this is 3 years into golf. I thought, oh, they don't have a sign. I can park close to the green. The answer is no. I got yelled at again. It is understood that you stay away from that 30-yard radius. The reason is because that's where people are going to be chipping and hitting shots, and they want to keep that grass perfect. You also do not drive on the tee box area. And if you notice, there is a cart path typically where the carts stay on the path. As you leave the tee box area, there's usually a stake in the ground that's white, and that indicates it is now safe for you to turn off the cart path and drive onto the fairway. And the starter, who is the person you will meet at the first hole, will tell you if there are any unusual cart path rules. Sometimes they will close holes and say, on hole 9 and 15, it is cart path only, which means you have to stay on the cart path the entire hole, but the other holes you can drive onto the course. Par threes. A par 3 is when you are expected to hit your tee shot onto the green. That's how people expect you to play that hole. So on par 3s, typically you do not drive on the fairway at all. So par 3s are typically taboo with your cart and any other hole that they deem cart path only. And if you hear the starter say, we have the 90-degree rule today, that doesn't mean you stop playing golf when it hits 90 degrees. What that means is when you are going to make that turn onto the golf course, you will do a 90-degree angle to get onto the course. And typically every day they will change those stakes in the ground so that the carts are not wearing a path on the fairway. Likewise, when you get to the end of the hole, you'll see the sign, or if not, you need to exit. Some courses will let you drive your golf cart into the parking lot so you can pick up and drop off your golf clubs. Others, they will not. Some golf carts have GPS, so you will get messages from the pro shop, pick up your pace, don't drive here. So if you're a newer golfer, always ask your partner, if they're more experienced, ask them to drive because you have enough to focus on. But if you are going to drive the cart, make sure you do know where the cart goes and where it doesn't. Okay, a lot of these etiquette rules are designed to respect the golf course. They spend a lot of money making the golf course look beautiful and perfect for you. So if you're going to hit a shot and you cause a divot, which is when a big chunk of grass comes up, you either replace the grass and tamp it down. Some of the carts will have grass seed and sand. You sprinkle that in. So you want to make sure you're driving in the right place, fixing your divots that might appear on the fairway or on the green. But they spend a lot of money. And please, please, please respect the staff at the golf course. If the marshal comes up to you and asks you to pick up the ball and keep moving, you must follow their instructions. This is their course and you're under their law for the day. I've had women totally ignore the marshal, and then I get a phone call that my ladies are still out there taking 20, 30 minutes on the course. They said, I've paid my money and I'm going to stay here until I finish the hole. You can't do that. So you need to listen to the marshal and respect that, because then it looks bad for us, it looks bad for you, and you're causing a bottleneck. So the last thing on this etiquette thing is the 10th thing is to bring your A game, meaning come positive. If you're having a bad day, take a breath. You're out there to have fun. Other people are out there to have fun. You're affecting other golfers. So etiquette is really about the other golfers. Okay, so I don't care what you do out there. And I've had people, Donna, did you see what she did? Like, what did she do? She moved her ball. She did. Like, how does that bother you? How does that affect you? As long as she is keeping pace and she's not impinging on your game, people can do whatever they want out there. So focus on yourself, okay? And if somebody's out there being nasty or complaining, just tune them out, do your own game, and then don't request to play with them next time. But if you are that person that's complaining, people are not going to want to play with you. So you want to bring your A game. All right, before I move on to the next little section I want to talk about, Jody, is there any questions that we've had on the chat?
Yes, I just put them in the chat, but we had a question from Maria who wanted to know, how do you handle the situation and the person when they hit into your play on the course? And her example was, if you're on the green putting and then all of a sudden the people playing behind you, the ball lands on the green as well. That's the first one.
Okay, so this is where we get into what I call the sticky situations. First, you have to ask yourself, and there's no excuse for people hitting into you. They should be a shot behind, but you have to ask yourself, are we behind pace of play? Do I see the next group on the tee box? Or is that next hole completely empty? Okay, so the people behind you should not be doing that. So what I would do is when you finish the hole and you're on the tee box, you might want to walk, if you feel like you want to encounter them, again, you could call the pro shop, call them and tell them what happened and have the marshal enforce what they're doing. You're not there to regulate the players. Okay, so if you don't want to get into a situation, call the pro shop, tell the marshal what happened, and say, someone just hit into us. Could you please talk to them? Okay, if you feel comfortable, you could say, hey, do you mind? You're a little close, you're hitting into us, it's not safe. Okay, and they might say, oh, we're really sorry, we didn't mean to do that. Or if you notice they're constantly doing it, you could let them, what I call play through, let them go ahead of you because you're slow. But those are two suggestions.
The other question is, when you're playing, you're getting ready to tee off, and people have the music going on their cart. How do you handle that? And ringing cell phones as well.
Okay, so etiquette, proper etiquette. I'm glad whoever asked that question. Cell phones should be turned off, just like a movie theater. Turn your ringer off. So if you hear a ringer, go, would you mind silencing your phone, please? Just like if someone did in a movie theater. Music, I equate that to smoking. Do you mind if I smoke? Okay, so if you are the one playing music, you should say, do you mind if I play music? And this is to ask your cart partner who's riding with you, do you mind if I play music? And if they say no, don't turn it on. Okay, if you're in the other cart, you could still say, hey, do you all mind if I play music? And if they say no, we don't mind. But if they do mind, say, how about if I keep it really, really low? And then make sure you keep your cart kind of away from them, because again, you're supposed to be quiet when people are hitting their shots. So ask the question. And if someone does not ask the question, this is where we get into the sticky situation. They're breaking etiquette. They're not asking you, do you speak up? And how do you speak up? Because you've got to spend 18 holes with this person. So we're going to get to that at the end. I want to open it up. But any other questions, Jody?
There was a question here, may want to mention where to put the flag on the green so it's not in line with the putt. And some people don't like someone holding the flag when they're putting.
Okay, so yes, so there are some rules around the flag. It used to be that the flag stick had to be pulled out of the hole, always. They changed that rule. You're now allowed to leave the flag in the hole to speed up play. But some people, old school, still like the flag taken out. So when it's taken out, you lay it down where it's not in the way of the ball missing the hole. So obviously not in the way of getting in the hole. You wouldn't lay it across their path, but also lay it somewhere where it's not in jeopardy of hitting the flag after you miss, because people are going to miss. You never hold the flag. If you hold the flag, that's called tending the flag. And people will ask you specifically if they're down in the sand and you can't see the hole. They may say, hey, Donna, can you stand there and tend the flag so I know where the hole is? But typically you either pull it and lay it down, or if you're going to hold it, go way off to the side. Again, the front of the golfer, the back of the golfer, you don't want to look down and see someone holding the flag. Okay. I'm going to go to this last slide, which is a little extra, a little bonus for you all. Somebody asked me this question, and we have an event at Seaview, New Jersey next month, and we have 34 ladies coming, and they're going to play recreational golf both days. And I sent them this flyer. This is on our website. I said, you have 3 ways you can play the game. You can play your own ball, which means keeping score according to the rules of golf. And down here it says, if your handicap is 1 to 9, the most you can write on your scorecard is double bogey. So this is just sort of how much you're allowed to write on your scorecard. But these are people keeping score. I would recommend, if you are at a very super challenging course like Torrey Pines we just played, or you're playing number 2 at Pinehurst, don't keep score unless you are going to shoot around 100 or less. Because if you shoot 120, what's going to happen? You're going to blow pace of play out of the water. The normal pace of play for most courses, the average is 4.5 hours, which equates to 15 minutes a hole. So if you follow the rules of golf and score 120, and so do all your teammates, that is quick math, 480 shots. You're not going to finish in 4.5 hours. It's going to take you 6 hours. So the game is rigged. It is really rigged. It is not designed for the average golfer to keep score and finish in 4.5 hours. So unfortunately, if you can't do that, especially when there's 80 people playing behind you and you're at Saturday morning at 9 a.m., you're going to have to do a different way. You're going to have to navigate the hole differently. Now, this doesn't mean if I'm playing with you and I'm keeping score, I can keep score and you can be doing something else. Everyone doesn't have to keep score. All right. So the other way you can do this. Oh, what did I just do? Well, my screen share just disappeared. Should I? And now I lost all my controls. Okay.
Oh.
Well, let's go back to screen share. All right. This is okay. And let's view it big screen here. Oops, now we have to start all over. Boom, boom, boom. But the other way is a scramble. Okay, a scramble is played as a team. You can be a team of 2. You can be a team of 4. You can be a team of 3. You can be a team of 1. Now, what does this mean? When I first started playing golf, I played with 3 very good players. All right, they were all keeping score and they were getting par and birdies on every single hole, which means they're really, really good. So what I did is I played a scramble with them. What I did is I hit my shot. Guess whose shot was the furthest back from the hole? Me. Hit my shot again. I'm still furthest back. I said, this is not going to work because they're all waiting on me. So what I did is I hit my first shot and then I picked up my ball and I put it where the shot closest to the hole. In other words, I picked a player and my cart partner, and I kept dropping my ball where his ball was. So every shot I took was where he landed. Every shot. So in essence, I was playing a scramble where I was picking his shot and that's where I would hit my next shot. So a great way to play if you're a beginner and you're playing with really good people and you don't want to hold them up, just drop your ball wherever your cart partner is. And then you're going to finish in time. Okay, that's a scramble. There's more to it than that, but that's one way. The last way, which most beginners I encourage to play, is I just call it play your own way. Meaning, do not keep score, do not follow the rules, practice good etiquette, but don't follow the rules. So what do I mean by that? So let's say your ball lands in the sand trap. Okay, the rule is hit it from the sand trap, but you don't have to. Take the ball out of the sand and put it back in the fairway. The rule is you're allowed to put your ball on a tee when you hit your first shot off the tee box, but after that, you can't use a tee. All right, to get that ball in the air, when I started playing, I put my ball on a very short tee. I put it in the fairway and I put the ball on the tee to give me a little lift. So when I swung, I had a better chance of getting the ball in the air. It was more fun. So I teed my ball up in the fairway. Not allowed to do that in real golf, playing golf by the rules. But if you're playing your own way, nobody minds if you put a tee and put your ball there. So it helps you get the ball in the air. Let's say there's water in front of you. You just move the ball so there's no water in front of you. So playing your own way means just pick up the ball, put it down where you feel like putting it, and hit it from there. Nobody is going to blame you. And at the beginning, you could just tell your group. In fact, they'll be relieved. Hey, I'm a beginning golfer. I know the etiquette. I'm going to keep the pace of play. Say that first so they're not terrified of you. Because I think you're a beginner. You don't know what you're doing. They're going to be terrified. Say, hey, I'm going to keep the pace of play and I'm going to do things that are not conventional. I might break some rules, but I'm just doing it to keep up with everybody. All right. And then one of the things I know people love this is let's score 5 on every hole. So here's the strategy. Hit your drive. All right. Wherever the drive goes, pick it up and put it at the 100-yard marker for your second shot. Okay. Now you're hitting 100 yards onto the green, or maybe you can't hit that far, 75 yards. Okay. Try to get it on the green because your second shot on a par 4 should go on the green. That's how you get par. So you hit that second shot, and let's say you miss the green. All right, pick up your ball and put it, a foot or 2 off the green so you can try a chip shot. And if you've taken lessons, you want to do your chip shot. And hopefully you'll get on the putting surface. If not, put your ball on the putting surface and take 2 putts and get in the hole. Okay, so this way, a lot of people, the other way that they do it is they say pick up after you've had 6 strokes. Okay, I don't like that because your 6 strokes could be, you don't even see the flag yet. So you're trying to take these big full swings, right? And you're not even near the putting surface. So by doing it this way, you get to use all the different types of shots that you've learned in your lessons and that you've practiced. You may be better at putting or chipping. You're never going to get there if you pick up after 6 shots. So score 5 on every hole. You're going to try all the clubs in your bag. You're going to keep up with your playing partners. And you're going to turn in a really good scorecard and everybody's going to be happy. So that's how you play your own way. You can do whatever you want. So any questions before we get into our discussion? All right. I think we lost Jody here. All right, I'm going to open this for discussion. So here's the big discussion of the day. And I see some people on this call who are very avid golfers, and I see some people who are brand new. You're on the golf course. I paired you up. There's 4 people. One person is very new, okay? They're so new that they're taking the wrapping paper off their golf clubs. They've never used them before, and they don't know what they're doing. Clear, they don't know what they're doing. Then you have some other people who have been playing for years and they recognize this. What do you do as the avid golfer? How do you address the new golfer in a way that won't run her scared? Anybody want to? And let's just give an example. Everybody hits the ball and the new golfer is talking during the whole time. Talk, 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 which is etiquette number 1. How do you address it without sounding, I hate to use the word bitchy, but how do you address it? And how do you do it so that the person who doesn't know what they're doing doesn't feel bad? I'm gonna pause the recording here. I'm gonna stop.